This will be the last story before the coffee break. And I remind you that we would really be delighted to have your email if you would like to hear of future storytellings here or elsewhere. This story is called Medea. Now, you all know about Medea. A certain chill come down around the heart when you hear that name. Do you know about Medea before? She and Jason before the darkness came down and she killed their children. Well, she was a pretty girl and a princess. Of course, she was a witch, but you weren't meant to talk about that. And her father, like many fathers, especially if they're a king, kept a very careful eye on Medea, so she learned to do things discreetly. When Jason and the Argonauts came to court, there was quite a flurry. Medea watched, again discreetly. He was blind, and he had the loveliest skin she'd ever seen on a man. And so while they were doing their carousing and mock swordplay, she watched. Oh, she had done this before. That one, she thought, that one. He's always going to be doing things. And he'll need some help. Oh, nothing obvious. You know what I mean. So the court was such agog about the Argonauts and the ship. It was really something spectacular. They had never seen one like that before. It wasn't difficult for Medea to arrange to go down to see the ship. It's what everyone was doing. Nothing that would be noticeable. But she did allow as how to Jason that since he was a stranger here, she would be glad to show him the way up the mountain. It was somewhat obscure. Neither of them mentioned why he would want to go up the mountain. You see, Jason was there to gain the golden fleece. He was not a slow starter, Jason. So they started off walking. It was an easy incline. They chatted. But then, soon, the hill became extremely steep and the walk demanding. Jason hit a stone with his foot and it ricocheted down, 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 far below where you could see the Argonaut at anchor. And before very long, they came, as of course Medea knew they would, upon a dragon. And not just any dragon. This was a mother of dragons. Silver and green it was. And it was wrapped around a tree, and it was moving, and far up there you could see just a glint of gold. Now, the dragon saw them. From the cradle and held it, and Jason, brave man though he was, went down on all fours as if the earth would open and protect him. And Medea? Medea slowly walked toward the dragon. See, the truth of the matter was, the dragon adored Medea. But how far are you going to trust a dragon? Now, its head was coming down. It had gold eyes with no pupils in them. And it was almost opposite Medea's face. And she sang to the dragon. And she reached in her tunic and took out an olive tree with potions on it. And ever so gently, she touched the eyes of the dragon. And the lids fell. And for the first and only time, the dragon slept. And she gestured to Jason to go up. She said, I don't know how long I can hold him. And Jason climbed up. The reptile could feel the slime and the cold to his leather sandals. And he reached the top and he grabbed the golden fleece, and he was falling, climbing, sliding down the dragon to the ground. And he looked at Medea and held her hand, and they ran. And it was as if that mountainside was a meadow of flowers. You remember? You remember? You held a hand and you owned the world. And down they went. And 50 yards away, Jason shouted and the oars went up. Oh, they were well trained, those Argonauts. In position. And he got to the edge and he looked down and he thought to himself, more than just a pretty girl. You'll come with me. You'll come with me. Medea, whose foot was aching for the deck, said, I'd better. My father would kill me. And they were on the ship, and the order was given, and the boat cut through the water out to that secret opening they had learned of, out to the open sea. And Medea, she never looked back. They don't, you know, until much later. And that night, the two of them, they slept in each other's arms, surrounded by the golden fleece, which, truth to tell, was slightly metallic in feel. But they were very young. So, I invite you, when you think of those two, think of them that night, before the darkness came down.